Okay, so with our clean rag, we're gonna have some base cleaner. We're gonna use some of this base cleaner. Much better than just using water. So we're just gonna spray it on here. And you're gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes, just so it can soak up all that dirt, all the wax and everything that we wanna get off our board before we start tuning. So then we're just gonna go run it down. So a good habit to get in, you'll see that I'm going from tip to tail. So because he's a goofy rider, this is tip, this is tail. No matter what it is, whether you're waxing, cleaning, tuning the edge, whatever it is, you want to be going from tip to tail. Do not mess that up. So we have our base all cleaned, looking pretty, all shiny. Next, we're gonna choose our wax. We got a couple different options. Demon has a ton of different waxes, which is super awesome. All the waxes I've used in the past are just like cold, warm, not super crazy. But these ones we have, this is for all conditions. So usually, depends on the color. Lighter colors tend to be kind of like this clear color. Tends to be more than all snow condition kind of wax. So these two are all snow condition kind of wax. This is a lightning wax, so this is super quick well, I'll show you, but when we put our wax on, we're gonna have to let it sit for a second, just so the fibers soak up the wax. So same with warm wax. Warm wax, you can do multiple layers. You start, you scrape, you start, you scrape. You don't have to let it sit for like 5 minutes. Super quick process. That's for more of like your spray skiing. So what we're gonna be using right now, because we're kind of in the middle of the season, we're using cold snow condition wax. And this will be good wax throughout most of the season. You should tune, they say to tune your skis to your board, obviously depending on how much you go, but at least once or twice this season for sure. All right, so first things first, we already got our wax, we're ready to go. We're gonna turn on an iron, and depending on what wax we're using, we're gonna turn your heat on your iron. It's whatever it says on the package. Because it is cold wax, it's gonna be a little harder. So we're gonna turn it up a little bit more. So we pull out a little cube from our cold wax. Cold wax is the best right now for these conditions, and then we're just gonna drip it on here. So again, tip to tail, keep that habit up. Shoot this over here. So whatever you're doing, whether you're dripping, you just want to go tip to tail. Do not forget that. So all we're going to do is we're going to run our wax on here. We're just going to move back and forth down our board. The iron's still a little cold, so it's a little slow right now. But just depending on how much wax you want to use, you're just going to run it down here all the way to the tip. So that excess wax run off. Fill in those spots that you missed. You see it's a decent amount of wax, but thankfully Demon gives us a lot of wax in these kits, so it should last you a good amount of time. Again, depending on how much you tune. But then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our iron, and bases are very, very, say fragile. They are, but they aren't. But when you're waxing, you just want to treat your base super well. So again, we're gonna go tip to tail. Can't say that enough. And we're not gonna leave our iron on our board for too long in one spot. If you do, it can burn your base. Again, just cause problems. Those fibers don't heal up like they should. So we're just gonna run back, forth. Should probably let this warm up a little bit more, but it's working okay right now. We just wanna fill in all of the spots. So you can kind of see on your board when you're doing this. You might miss some spots. It really depends on your lighting. If you have good lighting in the room wherever you're tuning, it helps a lot because you can see where you're missing and what's getting filled in. So this is gonna take a second. Okay, here we are. We finished waxing. Our wax is evenly spread throughout the base of our board. Looks nice and even. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a good, let's say, so it really depends, again, on your wax, wait time, everything kind of differs on the wax. So like I said earlier, hot wax is usually only 5 minutes, and you can do like multiple layers. But with cold wax, I'll usually give it a good like 20 minutes or so. Let it sit, let the fibers soak in that wax, and so that when I scrape it off, that wax that we need still stays in the board. So 20 minutes, and then we'll be back at it. So wax is about to get everywhere. So if you don't want to get covered in wax, get yourself a little Demon United apron, and you could like pull up a garbage can or whatever. But since we're all set up like this, I'm just gonna scrape it on the ground, and then we'll just broom it up later. Okay, so scraping. This is low-key my favorite part. It's just really satisfying. We got our nice Demon United scraper. Edge is nice and clean, ready to scrape. This is gonna be quick work. So again, I'll say it again. Tip to tail. Everyone say it with me. Tip to tail. Okay, here we go. You're just gonna go scrape after scrape after scrape, and we're gonna get all this wax off. So you can do different angles with your scraper. That's like your basic, just scrape. You can go forward to get more refined wax off. And then you can also run, if you have a file on you, I don't have this file open, you can take your file, I'll just use this. Take your file and you can run it along the edge, just get rid of that wax. We're just gonna keep going, and again, like I said earlier, a room with really good lighting is the best because you can see you still got wax on the board. You might think it's kind of counterintuitive that we're scraping the wax off after we put it on. What's the point of that? If you leave wax on your board or your skis, it's just gonna stick to the snow. Like imagine a candle. You can't just let a candle roll down the mountain. It's just gonna stay stuck in one spot. It's sticky. And so what we do by waxing our board or our skis, we are letting the wax sit and then filter into the fibers, so that it's actually in the fibers, making your board a little faster. I'm not a snowboard ski scientist, so I can't tell you the actual science behind it. All I know is it makes your boards faster. This part will take a little while, just because you gotta really make sure you get all that wax off. What's nice about these Demon scrapers as well is they have this little bevel right here. This bevel you can just use on the edge. Make sure you get all that excess wax off. Except for just coming right off. It's nice. So we can also use as a metal scraper, comes with your kit as well. Metal scrapers are super nice. They'll just take off super fine layer of wax. Again, like that one little technique I was showing you, that worked very well. This one will take off that fine layer of wax. Just be careful, because metal scrapers and do a little bit of damage to your board. Just be nice and careful. You can get rid of all of that excess wax. So after we've waxed, we're gonna clean our board again, get rid of all of that wax. Try and make that base look nice and pretty. We can also use these nifty little wire brushes we got on here. Yes, this isn't wire. Like a little sponge looking brush. Does a good job of just getting rid of all of that excess. Okay. After we've done that, nice and clean, we are going to use a couple different brushes. Brushes are my favorite. They make your board actually pretty after a wax. So you have your 6mm horsehair tuning brush, 2mm brass tuning brush, and then the 10mm nylon tuning brush. So usually you start with a little bit of a stiffer, more of an aggressive brush, so we can use like the nylon or the horsehair. And what I do is, because you use your brush so much, what happens is the bristles get pushed one direction. And I'm always gonna tune it the same way. So I like to have it facing up so I can read the words. And the next time I tune, if I had it upside down, because the bristles are poking the opposite direction now, and I try to brush, it's gonna catch the board and it's gonna damage your fibers. So try to use all your tools, your brushes especially, always going in the same direction. So what this is doing is just cleaning your base, getting all that wax out, making sure only the essential wax stays in there. Your brushes are like sandpaper. So you have your finer grit, and then you have your not finer grit. And so this is like our finer grit. It's just cleaning that board, really making it smooth and shiny. Again, facing up, going from tip to toe. Brushes as well. We're always going from tip to toe. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just run over this one more time. Get all that wax. So the final thing I want to talk about is our P-Tex. So P-Tex is used for base repair. On some of these boards, on this board, thank goodness we don't have any core shots or anything. We have a little ding right here. There's not a lot we can do about that. Even a shop couldn't really fix this ding. But if you do have like a core shot or something, you can fix that. So you're just gonna take your P-Tex, and if you do have a core shot anywhere, you're gonna take your iron and you can kind of melt it just like the wax. You just want it nice and hot, you melt it and you just apply it. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And then it's pretty much just plastic that fills in that hole, that fills in that gap. And core shots just affect how you ski. You might get snow in it, it could create further problems. So make sure you take care of your bases. You have a clear one and a black one, just different colors. Black one is obviously gonna leave black plastic on here. Clear one's gonna look. So you also have little wire brushes as well that come in the tool kit. So you can use that just to run against your edges. Again, tip to toe, whatever it is. Clean up any spots you need to. You have extra files. They always send you extra files. You have a little hand file if you need to get nice and gritty and get rid of some of that rust, whatever it is. Some base cleaner. Base cleaner is awesome. A scraper, all your different kinds of waxes. A couple of different kinds of brushes, sponges. Just use this to clean your skis, and you can kind of use it based on the color and the color of the wax. So like this is going to be a little bit softer. You can use that with your hot wax, whatever. Just color code it. And then this is honestly the best part. Big fat brick of wax. Wax is super important. So this is going to last you a long time. Dimmy and I really load you up with lots of tools. And now that you know how to use them, go ahead, tune your skis. Tune your boards, whatever it is. If you are tuning skis, I will say this one last thing. So you might see that, like, I'll grab these. So you might see that your brake is up like this. How do you get your brake down? You're gonna use your rubber band. Just run it over like this. You're gonna run it over the back of your binding, and it'll just hold your brake down so that you can tune your skis. It's as easy as that. They give you everything you need to get a good tune in. Now you know.